Welcome, dear dreamer. Take a moment to settle into your most comfortable position. Feel your body slowly releasing the weight of the day as you sink deeper into your bed. Tonight, we embark on a journey that will carry you through the vast, mysterious depths of our planet's oceans. From the gentle lapping of waves at the shore to the profound silence of the deepest trenches. Close your eyes now and imagine standing at the edge of an endless sea. The horizon stretches before you like a promise of peace. Feel the soft sand beneath your feet, still warm from the day's sunshine. The ocean calls to you with its ancient wisdom, inviting you to discover the secrets that lie beneath its shimmering surface. Let your breathing slow and deepen, in harmony with the eternal rhythm of the tides. Listen now. Can you hear it? The gentle whisper of waves caressing the shore. Each wave carries with it stories from distant lands, stories of creatures that dance in the moonlight beneath the surface. The sound grows softer, more rhythmic, like a lullaby sung by the earth itself. The foam spreads across the sand with a soft hiss, then retreats with a soothing sigh. This is the ocean's breathing. Slow, deep, eternal. Let this rhythm become your rhythm. Feel your chest rise and fall with each wave that kisses the shore. The salt air fills your lungs with peace, with ancient memories of life's first moments in these primordial waters. From somewhere far beneath the waves, a sound drifts upward. The haunting song of a whale, deep and resonant, traveling thousands of miles through the darkness. These gentle giants speak in frequencies that touch the very soul. Their melodies carry messages of patience, of timeless wisdom, of the slow, steady pulse of life in the deep. Listen as their songs weave through the water, creating invisible pathways of sound that connect all ocean dwellers. The whale's call fades into the distance, but its echo remains, reverberating through your consciousness like a meditation bell, calling you deeper, deeper into the peaceful embrace of oceanic dreams. The ocean is our beginning. 4 billion years ago, in these same waters, life first stirred, first learned to move, to breathe, to dream. The ocean remembers everything, every creature that has ever swum in its depths, every wave that has ever crashed upon a shore, every sunset that has painted its surface gold. Tonight, you return to this ancient cradle. Feel yourself becoming lighter, as if the very memory of water is calling you home. The ocean's embrace is gentle, welcoming. It knows you, as it knows all living things. You are part of its endless story, part of its eternal dance of creation and renewal. If you're feeling the pull of these oceanic depths, if you're ready to dive deeper into this aquatic meditation, let me know in the comments by simply writing Deep Blue. Your journey into the ocean's mysteries is just beginning. You stand now at the water's edge, where land meets sea, where the known meets the unknown. The waves lap gently at your toes, cool and inviting. Each touch of the water sends ripples of relaxation up through your body. The boundary between you and the ocean begins to blur. Step forward. Feel the sand shift beneath your feet as the water rises to your ankles, then your knees. The ocean welcomes you with gentle currents that swirl around your legs like silk ribbons. The water is perfectly warm, perfectly clear. You can see your feet resting on the sandy bottom. Small fish dart playfully around them, curious and unafraid. 1.6. Wade deeper now. The water rises to your waist, to your chest. You feel weightless, supported by millions of gallons of ancient seawater. Your arms float effortlessly at your sides. The ocean's buoyancy cradles you like the most comfortable bed you've ever known. Take a deep breath and let yourself float, face up toward the star-filled sky. The gentle waves rock you back and forth, like a parent soothing a child to sleep. Your ears are just below the surface. The sounds of the world above become muffled, distant, replaced by the ocean's own quiet heartbeat. 1.7. Your breathing has changed, slower now, deeper, in perfect synchronization with the rise and fall of the waves. With each inhale, you draw in the ocean's peace, its timeless tranquility. With each exhale, you release all tension, all worry, all the weight of the waking world. The tide is your teacher now. It shows you the beauty of rhythm, of cycles, of letting go and returning. Like your breath, like your heartbeat, like the gentle drift toward sleep. Feel how the water supports you completely. You don't need to swim, don't need to struggle. Only float, only breathe, only be. Ahead of you, the water deepens, changes from pale blue to deep sapphire. This is where our true journey begins, where we will meet the ocean's most gentle inhabitants, where we will discover the profound peace that exists in the depths, away from storms, away from surface turbulence, in the eternal calm of the deep. Are you ready to continue this journey, to explore the whispered secrets of ocean depths? Then subscribe to join me on more peaceful adventures beneath the waves. Tonight, let the ocean carry you into dreams. Let its ancient wisdom guide you to the deepest, most restful sleep. Our descent into wonder begins now. As we float gently in these welcoming waters, we find ourselves in one of Earth's most magical places, the coastal zone where two worlds meet and dance together in eternal harmony. Here, the rhythm of the tides has sculpted a unique ecosystem over millions of years. Each wave that rolls in carries nutrients from the deep ocean, while each wave that retreats takes with it the offerings of the land. The water around us is alive with tiny creatures, each playing their part in this ancient choreography. Microscopic plankton drift like underwater snow, providing food for countless small fish that dart between our fingers. The sunlight filters through the clear water, creating dancing patterns on the sandy bottom below. This is where life learned its first lessons about adaptation, about surviving in a world of constant change. Along the rocky shores nearby, nature has created perfect little worlds in miniature. Tidal pools carved into the stone hold captured pieces of the ocean, waiting patiently for the next high tide. These pools are like natural aquariums, each one a complete ecosystem in itself. Sea anemones wave their soft tentacles in the gentle current, looking like underwater flowers swaying in an invisible breeze. Small hermit crabs scuttle between the rocks, carrying their borrowed shell homes with quiet determination. They move with such purpose, yet never in a hurry, teaching us about the peaceful art of taking life one careful step at a time. Tiny fish dart between the anemones, playing hide-and-seek among the swaying fronds of seaweed. Everything here moves with the unhurried grace of creatures who know that the ocean will always return to embrace them. Watch now as a small crab emerges from beneath a cluster of barnacles. These fascinating creatures have perfected the art of sideways movement, sliding across the wet rocks with surprising elegance. Their eyes perch on stalks, constantly scanning for both opportunity and danger. Yet they move with a calm confidence that speaks of millions of years of coastal wisdom. The crab pauses at the edge of a tidal pool, its claws delicately testing the water temperature. Then, with a graceful sideways step, it slips into the pool and begins its slow exploration. Its movements are hypnotic, each step deliberate and purposeful. There's something deeply soothing about watching these creatures go about their daily routines, unhurried and content in their simple existence. Scattered across the sandy bottom are the empty shells of mollusks, each one a tiny architectural marvel. These calcium carbonate homes were built slowly, layer by layer, by creatures who understood the importance of patience and gradual growth. A conch shell spirals elegantly upward, its pearlescent interior catching the filtered sunlight and reflecting it in soft rainbow hues. Pick up a smooth clamshell and feel its perfect symmetry. For years, the creature that built this home filtered gallons of seawater daily, extracting nutrients and slowly, methodically building its protective dwelling. Even empty, these shells continue to serve life, providing homes for hermit crabs and shelter for small fish. Nothing in the ocean is ever truly discarded. Everything finds new purpose in the endless cycle of giving and receiving. Feel now how the water level around us slowly rises. The tide is coming in, following the ancient pull of the moon high above. This daily rhythm has continued unchanged for billions of years, a cosmic heartbeat that connects our small planet to the vast universe beyond. The water climbs higher on the rocks, filling crevices and pools with fresh nutrients from the deep ocean. As the tide rises, we can sense the excitement of the coastal creatures. Barnacles open their feathery arms to filter food from the moving water. Sea anemones expand their tentacles wider, ready to catch any small prey that the current might bring. Even we feel the gentle lift as the water supports us more fully, carrying us slightly higher with each incoming wave. This is the ocean's breathing, slow and deep and infinitely peaceful. Just beyond the rocky shore, tall brown kelp reaches toward the surface like an underwater forest. These gentle giants sway back and forth with each wave, creating a rhythmic dance that's mesmerizing to watch. The kelp provides shelter and food for countless creatures, forming underwater highways where fish travel safely from the shallows to the deeper waters. Swimming slowly between the kelp fronds feels like floating through a cathedral of the sea. The brown ribbons filter the sunlight into a golden glow, creating an atmosphere of peaceful reverence. Small fish dart between the swaying plants, while sea otters rest on their backs above, occasionally diving down to hunt for sea urchins among the holdfasts. Everything here moves with the patient rhythm of the waves. These coastal waters serve as nature's nursery, where many ocean creatures begin their lives. Young fish hide among the eelgrass beds, growing strong on the abundant plankton. Juvenile crabs molt their shells in the safety of rock crevices, emerging larger and stronger with each transformation. The shallow, warm waters provide the perfect environment for growth and learning. Watch as a small octopus glides between the rocks, its skin changing color to match each surface it touches. Even as a juvenile, it displays the remarkable intelligence of its species, solving puzzles and adapting to new situations with surprising creativity. Its movements are fluid and graceful, like silk ribbon flowing through water. This is where ocean creatures learn the skills they'll need for life in the deeper waters ahead. If you're finding peace in these gentle coastal waters, if you're ready to dive deeper into the ocean's mysteries, consider subscribing to explore more of these tranquil underwater worlds together. As the tide continues to rise, we feel the gentle pull toward deeper waters. The coastal zone has shared its treasures with us, shown us the delicate balance between land and sea. But now the ocean calls us further, inviting us to explore the coral gardens that lie just beyond this peaceful border zone. Feel how the water grows slightly cooler as we drift away from shore, how the sandy bottom begins to give way to a different landscape altogether. The sounds of the surface world fade behind us as we enter the realm where coral castles rise from the seafloor like underwater cities. Let the current carry you gently forward, toward new wonders that await in the tropical depths ahead. Our journey into the ocean's heart continues, each moment bringing us closer to the profound peace that lies in the deep. As we drift away from the coastal shallows, the water around us transforms into crystal clarity. Ahead, something magnificent begins to emerge from the blue. A coral reef, one of nature's most incredible creations, built not by machines or tools, but by countless tiny animals working together over thousands of years. The first coral formations appear like underwater sculptures, each one unique, each one alive. These are not plants as they might appear, but colonies of small animals called polyps. Each polyp no bigger than a pinhead, yet together they create structures so vast they can be seen from space. The water here is warm and inviting, filtered to perfect clarity by the reef itself. As we approach this underwater city, notice how the colors intensify. Brilliant oranges and deep purples, soft pinks and vibrant yellows dance before our eyes. This is one of the most biodiverse ecosystems on Earth, a place where 1/4 of all marine species make their home, despite covering less than 1% of the ocean floor. Look closely at a single coral colony. See how it branches and spirals in perfect mathematical patterns. Each coral polyp extends tiny tentacles to catch plankton from the water, while beneath, it slowly secretes calcium carbonate to build its limestone skeleton. Layer by layer, generation by generation, these tiny architects construct their eternal cities. Some corals grow in delicate fan shapes that sway gently with the current. Others form massive brain-like domes that have been growing for centuries. Table corals spread wide and flat, creating platforms where other creatures rest and feed. Each growth form perfectly adapted to its position on the reef, to the amount of light it receives, to the strength of the currents that flow around it. The coral polyps work in partnership with microscopic algae called zooxanthellae. These tiny plants live inside the coral tissues, sharing the sugars they make from sunlight. In return, the coral provides them with a safe home and nutrients. This ancient partnership has lasted for millions of years, a perfect example of cooperation in the natural world. Swimming closer to the coral gardens, we enter a world of constant motion and color. Schools of electric blue tangs glide past like living sapphires, their movements synchronized as if choreographed by the sea itself. A single turn of their bodies creates waves of blue light that ripple through the water. Yellow butterfly fish drift between the coral branches, their movements gentle and purposeful as they search for small invertebrates hidden in the reef's crevices. Their bright yellow bodies are marked with bold black stripes, nature's way of confusing predators about which end is the head and which is the tail. Watch as a parrotfish approaches a large coral head, its powerful beak-like mouth crunching on the coral to extract the algae within. The sound is surprisingly loud underwater, a rhythmic munching that has continued here for millions of years. These fish are gardeners of the reef. Their feeding helps keep the corals healthy, while their waste creates the white sand beaches we love. From the deeper water beyond the reef, a shadow approaches slowly. A sea turtle, ancient and wise, glides effortlessly through the coral gardens. Her front flippers move with graceful sweeps, propelling her massive body with surprising elegance. She has traveled thousands of miles to return to this reef, following magnetic fields and ocean currents that guide her like an internal compass. The turtle settles on a sandy patch between coral heads. Her peaceful presence seems to calm the entire reef. Small fish gather around her, some picking algae from her shell in a gentle cleaning service. She remains perfectly still, eyes half closed as if in meditation. For over an hour she rests here, a living reminder of the ocean's patience and wisdom. Green sea turtles like this one can live for over 80 years, making the same migration routes generation after generation. They have watched these coral gardens grow and change, witnessed the slow cycles of reef life that span decades. In their ancient eyes lies the memory of countless seasons, countless tides, countless peaceful moments just like this one. As twilight approaches in our underwater world, the reef begins its remarkable transformation. Many of the colorful dayfish retreat to safe hiding places among the coral branches, while night shift workers emerge from their daylight shelters. This changing of the guard happens twice daily, a rhythm as old as the reef itself. Moray eels begin to stir in their rocky lairs, their snake-like bodies undulating slowly as they prepare for nighttime hunting. Despite their fearsome appearance, these eels are generally peaceful creatures who prefer to avoid confrontation. They hunt by scent, following chemical trails through the water to find sleeping fish and crustaceans. From crevices in the coral, octopuses begin to emerge. Masters of camouflage, they can change both color and texture instantly to match their surroundings. One moment visible, the next completely invisible against the coral surface. Their intelligence rivals that of vertebrates, and their hunting strategies show remarkable planning and creativity. Swimming deeper into the reef, we encounter some of its most spectacular residents. A mandarin fish darts between coral branches, its psychedelic pattern of blue, orange, and green almost too vibrant to believe. These small fish are among the most colorful creatures in the ocean, their skin containing special cells that create colors not found anywhere else in nature. Cleaner wrasse establish their stations at prominent coral heads, like underwater service stations where larger fish come for grooming. A grouper approaches one such station, opening its mouth wide and spreading its gill covers to allow the tiny wrasse access. The cleaner fish dart in and out, removing parasites and dead tissue with surgical precision. If you're captivated by these living jewels of the coral reef, if you want to explore more of the ocean's hidden treasures, consider subscribing to join me on future underwater adventures. The coral reef teaches us about cooperation on every level. From the microscopic partnership between coral and algae, to the complex relationships between fish, cleaners, and their clients. Clownfish nestle safely among the stinging tentacles of sea anemones, protected by a special mucus coating that prevents the anemone from recognizing them as prey. In return for this protection, the clownfish defend their anemone home from other fish who might try to eat it. They also bring food scraps back to their host, creating a perfect partnership where both species benefit. This relationship is so close that clownfish cannot survive without their anemone, and the anemone thrives much better with its fish guardians. Giant clams rest on the reef floor, their mantles displaying brilliant blues and greens created by symbiotic algae living in their tissues. These gentle filter feeders can live for over a century, growing slowly but steadily throughout their long lives. Their shells eventually become part of the reef structure itself, contributing to the eternal cycle of growth and renewal. As our time in the coral gardens draws to a peaceful close, we feel the gentle current beginning to carry us away from the reef. The coral city slowly fades behind us as we drift toward the deeper blue waters of the open ocean. The reef has shown us the beauty of cooperation, the wisdom of patience, and the incredible diversity that blooms when conditions are just right. Feel how the water grows slightly cooler as we leave the warm shallows of the reef. Notice how the sounds change from the busy activity of the coral gardens to something more spacious and serene. Ahead lies the vast open ocean, where different creatures follow different rhythms, where the gentle giants of the sea sing their ancient songs across thousands of miles of blue water. Let the current carry you gently forward into the endless blue where whales and dolphins dance, where schools of fish move like silver clouds through liquid sky. Our journey continues to unfold, each breath bringing us deeper into the ocean's embrace, closer to the profound peace that awaits in the heart of the sea. As the sun sets far above us, the coral reef begins its magical evening transformation. The bright colors of day slowly fade into deeper, more mysterious hues. Blues and purples replace the vibrant yellows and oranges. This is when the reef reveals its softer side, its more contemplative nature, as the pace of life slows to match the approaching night. Many of the busy dayfish have already retreated to their sleeping quarters, tucked safely into coral crevices and sandy hollows. The parrotfish we watched earlier now rests quietly, wrapped in a protective mucus cocoon that masks its scent from nighttime predators. These fish have learned the art of peaceful surrender, of letting go completely when the day's work is done. Feel how the water around us grows calmer, the current gentler, as if the ocean itself is preparing for rest. The reef's daytime symphony of clicking, crunching, and splashing gives way to something more subtle, more serene. This is the reef's bedtime, and we are privileged guests at this nightly ritual of rest and renewal. Swimming closer to the coral formations, we witness one of nature's most peaceful sights. A school of blue tangs has gathered in a shallow depression between coral heads, their bodies hovering motionless just inches above the sandy bottom. They sleep together for safety, their bright blue forms creating a living constellation against the pale sand. Watch as a wrasse slowly burrows into the sand, disappearing completely beneath the surface, until only the gentle rise and fall of sand grains reveals its sleeping place. These fish have mastered the art of invisible rest, of becoming one with their surroundings so completely that they vanish from the world above. Even the corals themselves seem to settle into evening calm, their polyps extending tentacles more slowly, more deliberately, as they filter the night waters for microscopic food. The entire reef breathes more deeply now, each creature finding its own perfect way to embrace the coming darkness. From a shadowy overhang, a moray eel emerges slowly into the open water. But this is not the fearsome predator of legend. This is a creature moving with liquid grace, its serpentine body undulating in perfect waves as it glides between the coral heads. There's something hypnotic about its movement, something deeply calming in its unhurried search for food. The eel pauses beside a large brain coral, its head swaying gently from side to side as it tastes the water for chemical signals. When it moves again, it's with such fluid elegance that it seems more like a ribbon of silk than a living creature. These eels can live for 30 years or more, growing slowly and patiently in their coral homes. A nurse shark glides past in the distance, its movement so smooth and effortless that it barely disturbs the water around it. These gentle sharks are the ocean's night shift workers, patient bottom feeders who vacuum the sandy areas between corals for sleeping fish and hidden crustaceans. Their presence adds to the reef's sense of ancient calm, of cycles that have continued unchanged for millions of years. Among the coral branches, movement catches our eye. An octopus emerges from what appeared to be solid rock, its skin rippling through a spectrum of colors and textures as it flows over the coral surface. One moment it's brown and bumpy like the coral itself. The next, it's smooth and pale like the sand below. Watch as this remarkable creature extends one arm to test a crevice, while the other 7 arms hold it securely to the reef. Its movements are deliberate and thoughtful, each action carefully considered before execution. The octopus possesses an intelligence that amazes marine biologists, capable of solving complex puzzles and learning from experience. When the octopus settles into a new hiding spot, it becomes so perfectly camouflaged that it simply vanishes from view. Its skin contains millions of color-changing cells called chromatophores, controlled by a sophisticated nervous system that can match any background in seconds. This is camouflage raised to an art form, nature's own meditation on the power of adaptation and change. At certain coral heads throughout the reef, small cleaning stations remain active even in the dim evening light. Tiny cleaner wrasse continue their important work, providing grooming services to larger fish who queue patiently for their turn. A grouper hovers motionless, its massive body perfectly still as the tiny cleaners dart in and out of its mouth and gills. These cleaning stations are like underwater spas, places where even natural enemies call a truce. A predatory grouper will allow small fish to swim safely into its mouth, while hammerhead sharks permit tiny cleaners to remove parasites from their sensitive gills. The reef teaches us that cooperation often works better than competition, that mutual benefit creates stronger communities than conflict. The cleaning fish work with remarkable gentleness, their movements precise and careful as they remove dead scales and parasites. There's something deeply soothing about watching this ancient partnership, this exchange of services that benefits both parties and strengthens the entire reef community. As true darkness approaches, bioluminescent creatures begin to reveal themselves. Tiny organisms in the water column start to glow when disturbed, creating trails of blue-green light that follow every movement. Swimming through this living starlight feels like floating through liquid moonbeams, each gesture of our arms creating swirls of gentle illumination. Some corals begin to fluoresce under the moonlight, their tissues glowing with ethereal blues and greens that seem almost supernatural. Scientists believe this fluorescence may help corals regulate light and protect themselves from harmful radiation. But to us, it simply adds to the magical atmosphere of the nighttime reef. Feel how weightless you've become, how perfectly supported by the warm water that surrounds you. The reef below provides a gentle backdrop of deeper shadows and softer lights, while above, the distant surface reflects the moon's silver glow. You're suspended between 2 worlds of light, cradled in the perfect darkness of the deep. If this peaceful journey through the reef's evening hours is bringing you the tranquility you seek, consider subscribing to explore more of the ocean's gentle mysteries with me. Listen carefully now. Can you hear it? The reef's nighttime lullaby. It's subtle, almost more felt than heard. The gentle clicking of snapping shrimp, the soft whisper of water flowing through coral formations, the distant sound of waves breaking on the reef crest far above. These sounds blend together into a natural symphony, a underwater music that has played continuously for thousands of years. A school of sweepers hovers near a coral wall, their silver bodies moving in perfect synchronization as they feed on plankton in the current. Their movement creates its own rhythm, a visual music that complements the reef's acoustic symphony. Everything here moves to the same ancient beat, the same patient pulse that governs all life in the sea. As you watch these peaceful creatures, feel your own breathing slow to match their rhythm. Feel your heartbeat synchronize with the gentle pulse of the reef. You're becoming part of this underwater world, part of its calm, part of its eternal cycle of rest and renewal. Our time in the coral gardens draws to a peaceful close, but the reef has given us its greatest gift, the lesson of patience, of cooperation, of finding beauty in both the bright colors of day and the subtle mysteries of night. As we drift slowly away from the coral city, we carry with us the memory of its gentle rhythms. Feel the current gradually strengthening, drawing us away from the reef and toward the vast blue waters of the open ocean. The coral formations grow smaller behind us, fading into soft shadows in the growing darkness. Ahead lies a different world, a world of endless blue, where the ocean's largest creatures make their home. Let yourself be carried by this gentle current. Trust in its ancient wisdom as it guides you toward new wonders. The reef has prepared us for what comes next, has taught us to move with the rhythm of the sea, to find peace in the vast spaces between. Our journey continues into the blue infinity, where whales sing lullabies across 1,000 miles of water, where the ocean's greatest mysteries await our gentle exploration. As we drift away from the coral gardens, the water around us transforms once again. Gone are the vibrant colors and busy activity of the reef, replaced by something far more vast and serene. We enter the open ocean, a world of endless blue that stretches to every horizon. Here, there are no boundaries, no walls, only the infinite embrace of liquid space. The water is deeper here, clearer, with a blue so pure it seems to glow from within. This is the largest living space on our planet, covering more than 60% of Earth's surface and extending down through miles of peaceful darkness. Feel how your body responds to this vastness, how your breathing naturally slows in the presence of such infinite calm. Far below us, the seafloor has dropped away into an abyss we cannot see. Above us, the surface shimmers like a distant memory of the world we left behind. We float suspended in this blue cathedral, this liquid cosmos where the ocean's greatest creatures make their home. Here, distance is measured not in miles, but in the songs that travel between kindred souls. From the deep blue distance, a shadow approaches slowly. At first, just a darker patch in the endless blue. But gradually, the shape resolves into something magnificent. A humpback whale, one of the ocean's most gentle giants, glides toward us with movements so graceful they seem choreographed by the sea itself. This whale has traveled thousands of miles to reach these waters, following migration routes used by her ancestors for millions of years. Her massive body, nearly 50 feet long, moves through the water with surprising elegance. Each stroke of her enormous pectoral fins propels her forward with fluid efficiency, while her tail flukes barely disturb the water behind her. Watch as she approaches without fear, her ancient eyes reflecting a wisdom gained through decades of ocean wandering. Humpback whales can live for 90 years or more. This individual may have been swimming these same routes since before you were born. In her presence, we feel connected to something timeless, something that speaks to the deepest parts of our being. The whale pauses nearby, hanging motionless in the blue water with only gentle movements of her fins to maintain position. Then, something magical happens. She begins to sing, her voice a deep, resonant melody that travels through the water like liquid music. These songs can be heard by other whales hundreds of miles away, crossing entire ocean basins to reach their intended audience. Each whale song is unique, a personal composition that may last for 30 minutes or more. Scientists believe these songs serve many purposes, attracting mates, establishing territory, or perhaps simply expressing the joy of being alive in the vast blue world. To us, they sound like lullabies, ancient melodies that speak of patience, of solitude, of the beauty found in vast, empty spaces. Feel the song's vibrations passing through your body, the low frequencies reaching into your chest and bones, connecting you to this creature's emotional world. There's something profoundly calming about whale song, something that touches the deepest parts of human consciousness and reminds us of our connection to all life in the sea. As our whale companion slowly continues her journey, other shapes begin to appear in the distance. A small pod of blue whales, the largest animals that have ever lived on Earth, move slowly across the horizon like living islands. Even from this distance, their sheer size is breathtaking. Each one over 100 feet long and weighing as much as 30 elephants. Despite their enormous size, these giants feed on some of the smallest creatures in the ocean. They cruise slowly through dense patches of krill, opening their massive mouths to engulf thousands of gallons of water and tiny shrimp-like creatures. Then, with surprising delicacy, they use their tongues to push the water out through their baleen plates, retaining only the nutritious krill. Watching these peaceful giants feed is like witnessing a meditation in motion. Each movement deliberate and unhurried, perfectly adapted to their role as the ocean's largest gardeners. They remind us that true power often comes not from speed or aggression, but from patience, from taking only what is needed, from moving through life with gentle purpose. The calm of the whale encounter is gently interrupted by sounds of joy from the surface above. A pod of dolphins has discovered our presence, and they're approaching with characteristic curiosity and playfulness. These highly intelligent marine mammals seem to embody pure delight, their movements expressing a kind of aquatic celebration. Watch as they spiral down toward us, their sleek bodies cutting through the water with incredible grace and speed. But this isn't hunting or traveling. This is play in its purest form. The dolphins leap and spin, chase each other in complex patterns, and engage in behaviors that seem to serve no purpose other than simple enjoyment. One young dolphin approaches more closely, its intelligent eyes studying us with obvious curiosity. Dolphins possess self-awareness and complex social behaviors. They use tools, have individual names in the form of signature whistles, and display emotions remarkably similar to our own. In their presence, we're reminded that intelligence takes many forms, and that joy is a universal language. As the dolphins continue their playful interactions around us, something spectacular begins to unfold in the distance. A massive school of fish appears, moving like a single living entity through the blue water. Thousands, perhaps millions of individual fish swim together in perfect coordination, creating patterns that shift and flow like silver clouds in an underwater sky. The school moves as one organism, expanding and contracting, twisting and turning in response to invisible signals. When a predator approaches, the fish part like liquid mercury, creating an opening that closes again the moment the threat passes. This is collective intelligence at its most beautiful, thousands of individuals acting as one mind. Swimming closer to observe this natural phenomenon, we're struck by the hypnotic beauty of their synchronized movement. Each fish maintains its perfect position relative to its neighbors, never colliding, never falling behind, moving with a rhythm that seems to pulse from the very heart of the ocean itself. If you're finding peace in these vast blue spaces, if the songs of whales and the dance of dolphins are helping you discover your own inner calm, consider subscribing to continue this journey into the ocean's deepest mysteries. As we float among these gentle giants and graceful swimmers, we begin to sense something deeper, something that connects all life in the open ocean. It's the ocean's own heartbeat, the great circulation patterns that move water and nutrients around the globe, the ancient rhythms that have sustained marine life for billions of years. Feel this pulse in the gentle swells that lift and lower your body, in the subtle currents that brush against your skin, in the whale songs that travel across thousands of miles of open water. We're experiencing the ocean's circulation system, the global conveyor belt that carries warm water to the poles and cold water to the tropics, mixing and stirring the sea's life-giving nutrients. This is where we learn the ocean's greatest lesson, that everything is connected, that a whale song in the Pacific can be answered by a whale in the Atlantic, that currents begun in the Arctic carry nutrients to tropical reefs, that we are all part of one vast, living system that breathes and pulses with ancient wisdom. Our time in the endless blue has taught us about space, about the peace that comes from vastness, about the gentle power of the ocean's largest creatures. But now, the current begins to carry us towards something different, something more mysterious. Feel how the water around us slowly changes, growing slightly cooler, slightly darker as we drift toward the ocean's deeper layers. The surface light begins to fade above us, taking on the deeper blue-green tones of the twilight zone. The whales and dolphins of the surface waters fade into distant memories, replaced by the anticipation of meeting creatures adapted to a different kind of existence, creatures that live in the ocean's middle waters, in the realm between light and darkness. Let the current guide you gently downward, into the ocean's heart where different rules apply, where creatures create their own light, where the pressure grows stronger and the pace of life slows to match the rhythm of deeper waters. Our journey continues into realms few humans have ever seen, into the peaceful twilight depths where the ocean keeps its most beautiful secrets, where bioluminescent creatures paint the darkness with living light. As we drift deeper into the ocean's embrace, the light from above begins to fade into something softer, more mysterious. We're entering the twilight zone, that magical realm between the bright surface waters and the eternal darkness of the deep. Here, sunlight filters down in gentle rays, creating a cathedral of blue-green luminescence that shifts and dances with each passing current. The water pressure increases slightly around us, but rather than feeling confining, it feels like a gentle embrace, like being wrapped in the ocean's most comforting blanket. This is where many of the sea's most extraordinary creatures spend their days, rising to the surface each night to feed, then returning to these peaceful depths when dawn approaches. Feel how your body naturally adjusts to this deeper realm, how your breathing slows to match the more patient rhythm of life here. In the twilight zone, there's no rush, no urgency, only the slow, steady pulse of existence in perfect balance with the sea's ancient rhythms. Floating here in the blue-green twilight, we're surrounded by something invisible yet vital to all ocean life. Countless billions of microscopic organisms drift around us, so small they're impossible to see individually, yet so important that without them, the entire ocean ecosystem would collapse. This is the plankton, the ocean's living foundation. Phytoplankton, tiny plant-like organisms, use the filtered sunlight to create food through photosynthesis, just like trees in a forest. But these are the ocean's trees, producing more than half the oxygen we breathe. They drift with the currents, following ancient pathways of nutrients and light, creating the base of the marine food web. Among them float zooplankton, tiny animals ranging from microscopic copepods to the larvae of fish and crabs. These creatures perform one of nature's greatest daily migrations, rising to the surface each evening to feed, then descending to deeper waters each dawn. This vertical journey happens in oceans around the world, a synchronized movement of trillions of tiny lives. Through this living soup of plankton, ethereal shapes begin to materialize. Jellyfish, some no larger than a fingernail, others with bells the size of dinner plates, pulse slowly through the water in their ancient dance. Their movements are hypnotic, each contraction of their bell-shaped body propelling them forward with surprising grace. Watch as a moon jelly drifts past, its translucent body almost invisible except for the 4 purple horse shapes of its reproductive organs. These creatures are 95% water, yet they've survived in the oceans for over 600 million years. Long before the first fish, long before the first coral reefs. They are living proof that simplicity often leads to the greatest success. A lion's mane jellyfish approaches from the deeper blue, its trailing tentacles streaming behind like silk ribbons in an underwater breeze. Despite their fearsome reputation, these jellies move with such gentle elegance that they seem more like floating flowers than predators. Their tentacles undulate softly, creating mesmerizing patterns as they drift through their liquid world. From the deeper twilight, a shadow begins to take shape. At first it appears to be swimming, but as it draws closer, we realize it's flying, gliding through the water with wing-like fins that span nearly 20 feet from tip to tip. A manta ray, one of the ocean's most graceful giants, approaches us with curious intelligence. The manta's movements are poetry in motion, each beat of its massive pectoral fins propelling it forward with effortless grace. These gentle giants feed on the same tiny plankton that surrounds us, swimming slowly through dense concentrations with their mouths wide open, their gill rakers filtering thousands of tiny organisms from each mouthful of water. This particular manta bears the scars of a long life in the ocean, healed bite marks from sharks, scrapes from cleaning stations where smaller fish removed parasites from its skin. Yet it approaches us without fear, its large eyes reflecting an intelligence that marine biologists are only beginning to understand. In its presence, we feel honored, privileged to share this moment with one of the sea's most magnificent creatures. As the mantid glides away into the blue distance, the twilight around us begins to reveal one of its most magical secrets. Tiny lights begin to flicker in the water. At first, just a few scattered points, but gradually building into a constellation of living stars. Bioluminescent organisms, creatures that create their own light through chemical reactions in their bodies. A siphonophore drifts past, its string of pearls body stretching 30 feet or more through the water. Each glows with its own pale blue light, creating a living necklace that pulses and shimmers as it moves. These creatures are actually colonies of specialized individuals, each playing a specific role in the colony's survival, working together as a single organism. Small deep-sea fish begin to appear, their bodies dotted with photophores, specialized light-producing organs that create patterns unique to each species. Some flash in rapid sequences like underwater Morse code. Others glow steadily like tiny underwater streetlights. This is how creatures communicate in the eternal twilight, using light instead of sound, beauty instead of noise. Around us, one of nature's greatest daily spectacles begins to unfold. As evening approaches far above, millions of deep-water creatures begin their nightly journey to the surface. This is the daily vertical migration, the largest movement of animals on Earth, happening every single day in oceans around the world. Lanternfish by the millions begin to rise, their light organs creating moving galaxies in the darkening water. Small squid jet upward in graceful spirals, their bodies pulsing with waves of color and light. Krill swarm in massive clouds, their collective movement creating underwater aurora as their tiny bodies catch and reflect the fading light from above. Feel yourself becoming part of this ancient rhythm, this daily pulse that connects the deep ocean to the surface waters. You're witnessing something that has happened every night for millions of years. A migration so vast it can be detected by sonar from the surface, yet so gentle that each tiny participant moves like a dancer in an underwater ballet. If you're mesmerized by this daily dance of ocean life, if you want to descend even deeper into the sea's twilight mysteries, consider subscribing to explore more of these hidden wonders with me. Between the schools of migrating creatures, we encounter something equally beautiful, the peaceful emptiness of open water. Here in the vast blue spaces between life, we discover the ocean's gift of solitude, of quiet contemplation in liquid space. The water around us is so clear it seems like flying through blue air, so pure it feels like floating in liquid light. This emptiness is not absence, but presence. The presence of infinite possibility, of space for thoughts to expand, for the mind to drift as freely as the current that carries us. Small particles of marine snow drift slowly downward, organic matter from the surface world beginning its long journey to the ocean floor, creating a gentle snowfall in this underwater sky. Listen to the silence here. It's different from the silence of land, deeper, more complete, filled with the distant songs of whales and the subtle sounds of water moving through vast spaces. This is the silence that cradles all ocean life, the quiet that allows whale songs to travel across continents, the peace that has nurtured life in the sea for billions of years. Our journey through the twilight zone has shown us the beauty of transition, of the spaces between light and darkness, between the busy surface world and the peaceful depths below. But now, the water around us grows noticeably cooler, darker, as we prepare to enter realms where sunlight never penetrates, where creatures have adapted to life in eternal night. Feel how your body has adjusted to this deeper environment, how your breathing has slowed to match the patient rhythm of the deep. The bioluminescent creatures around us become more numerous, more varied as we approach their domain. The mysterious realm of the midnight zone, where darkness reigns supreme, where pressure shapes life in extraordinary ways. Let the current carry you gently downward, into waters where time moves differently, where creatures measure their lives not in days or seasons, but in the slow cycles of the deep ocean itself. Ahead lies a world of living lights and ancient mysteries, a realm where the ocean keeps its most extraordinary secrets, where we'll discover that even in the deepest darkness, beauty and peace can flourish in ways beyond imagination. As we continue our gentle descent, the last traces of sunlight fade completely away. We've crossed the threshold into the midnight zone, a realm of eternal darkness where the sun's rays have never penetrated. Here, 2 miles beneath the surface, the pressure is immense, yet we float effortlessly, cradled by water that has remained unchanged for centuries. This is the largest living space on our planet, covering more area than all continents combined. The darkness here is not empty or frightening, but rich with mystery and ancient wisdom. Your eyes begin to adjust to this new reality, where light comes not from above, but from the creatures themselves, living stars that paint the darkness with their own celestial glow. Feel how profoundly quiet it is here, a silence so complete it seems to have weight and substance. This is the silence that has existed since the oceans first formed, undisturbed by storms, untouched by the surface world's chaos. In this peaceful darkness, time moves differently, measured not in hours or days, but in the slow breathing of the deep. From the black water around us, points of light begin to appear. At first, just scattered sparkles, but gradually resolving into an underwater constellation of extraordinary beauty. These are the deep sea's living lanterns, creatures that have evolved to create their own light in this world without sun. An anglerfish drifts past, its grotesque appearance softened by the ethereal glow of its bioluminescent lure. This strange antenna dangles in front of its massive mouth like a fishing line, tipped with living light, attracting prey in the eternal darkness. Despite its fearsome appearance, the anglerfish moves with surprising grace, its movements slow and deliberate, perfectly adapted to life in the deep. Watch as the fish's light organ pulses gently, creating patterns that speak in the ancient language of bioluminescence. Some flashes are hunting signals, others are mating calls. Still others seem to serve no purpose other than adding beauty to the darkness. Each species has its own unique light signature, its own way of painting messages in the liquid night. Through the darkness, an extraordinary creature approaches. At first, it appears to be swimming backward, but this is a vampire squid, one of the deep ocean's most misunderstood residents. Despite its ominous name, this creature is completely harmless, a gentle filter feeder that subsists on marine snow, the constant rain of organic particles falling from the waters above. The vampire squid's body is covered in photophores, light-producing organs that create a stunning display when the creature feels threatened. Watch as it demonstrates this behavior, its entire body erupting in a galaxy of blue-white stars, each light pulsing in perfect synchronization with its neighbors. The effect is mesmerizing, like watching fireworks explode in slow motion underwater. When the light show ends, the squid settles back into its normal routine, arms trailing gracefully as it collects falling particles with remarkable patience. These creatures can live for several years, moving slowly through their dark world, teaching us that survival often requires not speed or aggression, but patience, adaptation, and the wisdom to find beauty in the simplest things. As we drift deeper, the seafloor begins to appear far below us, not as a barren wasteland as you might expect, but as an underwater garden of the most extraordinary kind. The bottom is covered with creatures that look more like flowers than animals. Sea pens swaying in the gentle current, tube worms extending feathery crowns to filter food from the water. These deep-sea gardens grow incredibly slowly. Some of the sponges here may be thousands of years old, growing just millimeters each year in the nutrient-poor waters of the deep. They represent patience in its purest form, life that measures success not in rapid growth, but in endurance, in the ability to persist through millennia of darkness. A glass sponge reef stretches across the seafloor, its delicate silica structure creating a maze of chambers and passages where smaller creatures find shelter. These sponges are living cathedrals, their intricate architecture providing homes for countless other deep-sea dwellers, proving that even in the deepest, darkest corners of our planet, beauty and wonder continue to evolve. In the distance, something impossible appears, a warm glow emanating from the seafloor itself. This is a hydrothermal vent, an oasis of life in the deep ocean desert. Superheated water rich in minerals streams from cracks in the Earth's crust, creating underwater geysers that support entire ecosystems independent of sunlight. Giant tube worms cluster around the vent openings, their bodies reaching 8 feet in length despite having no mouth or stomach. These remarkable creatures have formed partnerships with bacteria that convert the vent's chemicals into food, a process called chemosynthesis that replaces photosynthesis in this sunless world. The vent community thrives in conditions that would be lethal to most life forms. Yet here, in water hot enough to cook an egg, creatures dance in the warm currents with obvious contentment. They remind us that life finds a way to flourish in the most unlikely places, that even in the deepest, darkest corners of our planet, beauty and wonder continue to evolve. Moving away from the vent's warm glow, we encounter some of the ocean's most primitive yet successful creatures. A six-gill shark glides through the darkness, its massive body moving with the unhurried grace of an apex predator that has remained virtually unchanged for 200 million years. These ancient sharks are living fossils, survivors from the age of dinosaurs. The shark's movements are hypnotically slow, each sweep of its tail propelling it forward with minimal effort. In the deep ocean, energy conservation is crucial, and these sharks have mastered the art of efficient movement. They can live for over 80 years, growing slowly in the cold depths, accumulating wisdom along with size. If you're finding peace in these ancient depths, if the gentle movements of these timeless creatures are helping you discover your own inner stillness, consider subscribing to explore more of the ocean's deepest mysteries with me. All around us, a gentle snowfall continues constantly. But this is not frozen water. This is marine snow, a continuous shower of organic particles drifting down from the surface world thousands of feet above. Bits of plankton, fish scales, whale skin, all slowly settling toward the seafloor in an endless cycle of renewal. This marine snow is the primary food source for most deep-sea creatures, a gentle reminder that even in the most isolated places, we remain connected to the world above. Each flake carries with it the energy of sunlight, the nutrients of surface waters, the very essence of life itself, transformed and recycled through the ocean's ancient processes. Watch as a sea cucumber slowly vacuums the seafloor, processing the accumulated marine snow and extracting every bit of nutrition from this underwater bounty. These creatures are the ocean's cleanup crew, patient recyclers who ensure that nothing is wasted in the deep sea's careful economy. Their movements are meditative, purposeful, teaching us about the beauty of patient work done without recognition. Our time in the midnight zone draws to a peaceful close, but its lessons remain with us. Here in the deepest darkness, we've discovered that light comes from within, that beauty exists independent of the sun, that patience and adaptation can create wonders beyond imagination. The creatures of the deep have shown us how to find peace in solitude, how to create our own illumination when the world grows dark. Feel how completely relaxed you've become, how the pressure of the deep water supports every part of your body like the most comfortable bed. The bioluminescent creatures around us continue their eternal light show, a reminder that even in the darkest times, beauty finds a way to shine through. As we prepare to explore even deeper realms, let yourself sink into the same patient rhythm that governs life in these depths. The ocean's greatest secrets still await us, in the abyssal plains where time itself seems to slow, where the oldest creatures on Earth make their home, where we'll discover that the deepest peace comes from embracing the vast, the dark, the profoundly quiet spaces where the ocean keeps its most ancient wisdom. We continue our gentle descent into realms few humans have ever imagined, past the midnight zone, past the deepest trenches, into the abyssal plains that cover more than half of our planet's surface. Here, 3 miles beneath the waves, we enter a world where time moves so slowly it almost stops, where creatures live lives of profound patience, where silence has weight and substance. The water around us has become incredibly still, almost solid in its density and pressure. Yet we float effortlessly, supported by forces that would crush surface dwellers, cradled by the ocean's deepest embrace. The temperature here hovers just above freezing, constant and unchanging for thousands of years, creating an environment of perfect stability. Feel how your breathing has slowed to match this deeper rhythm, how your heartbeat has synchronized with the pulse of these ancient waters. In the abyssal plains, we measure time not in minutes or hours, but in the slow circulation of deep ocean currents, in the patient accumulation of sediment grain by grain, in the lives of creatures that may span centuries. The darkness here is complete, yet somehow different from the midnight zone above. This is darkness with history, darkness that has existed unchanged since the ocean floors first formed. No sunlight has ever penetrated these depths. No storm has ever disturbed this perfect calm. This is the ocean's most protected sanctuary, its innermost temple of peace. In this eternal twilight, bioluminescence takes on an almost spiritual quality. When creatures do produce light, it's sparse, precious, like candles in a vast cathedral. A deep-sea jellyfish drifts past, its bell pulsing with the faintest blue glow, so subtle it might be imagined, so beautiful it takes your breath away. The few lights that do appear seem to float without owners, disconnected points of illumination drifting through the liquid darkness like stars reflected in still water. Each flash tells a story, a moment of communication in a world where messages travel slowly, where every interaction is deliberate, considered, sacred. On the seafloor far below, strange formations rise like underwater monuments. These are xenophyophores, single-celled organisms that can grow larger than dinner plates, building elaborate tests from particles of sediment and debris. They are among the largest single cells on Earth. Yet they move so slowly, their progress is measured in years, decades, lifetimes. These ancient architects have been building their structures for millions of years, creating underwater cities of microscopic beauty. Each formation is unique, a work of art created with infinite patience by creatures that know nothing of hurry, nothing of urgency, only the slow, steady work of creation in perfect harmony with time. Watch as one extends a delicate pseudopod, moving with such deliberate care that the action seems frozen in time. This is life reduced to its essence, growth without haste, purpose without pressure, beauty created through patience so profound it becomes a form of meditation. From the darkness, a shape emerges that defies all expectations. A deep-sea gigantism has created creatures of impossible proportions. A spider crab with legs spanning 12 feet moves across the seafloor with surprising grace. Its movements are so slow they seem geological. Each step carefully placed, each motion deliberate and unhurried. These giants of the deep grow slowly over decades, their size a testament to the patient accumulation of life force in the stable environment of the abyss. A giant isopod, looking like an enormous pill bug, rests motionless on the muddy bottom, its compound eyes reflecting the occasional flash of bioluminescence like black pearls. The deep sea has taught these creatures that bigger can be better, but only when combined with the wisdom of moving slowly, of conserving energy, of living in harmony with an environment where resources are scarce, but time is infinite. They embody the ocean's deepest teaching, that true strength comes not from speed or aggression, but from persistence, from the ability to endure and adapt over countless generations. All around us, the marine snow continues its endless descent, but here in the abyss, each flake has been falling for weeks, months, slowly drifting down from the surface world through miles of water. By the time it reaches these depths, it has been transformed, compressed, concentrated into the most precious sustenance. Sea cucumbers carpet the seafloor, their soft bodies slowly processing this accumulated bounty, extracting every molecule of nutrition from the ancient rain. Their movements are so gentle they barely disturb the fine sediment. So patient, they seem more like living stones than animals, breathing slowly, existing in perfect harmony with the rhythm of the deep. This is where we learn the ocean's greatest lesson about time, that some things cannot be rushed, that the most precious gifts come to those who wait, that in a world of instant gratification, there is profound peace to be found in the slow, patient acceptance of what the universe provides. Scattered across the abyssal plains, ancient cold-water coral gardens create oases of life in the underwater desert. These corals grow without sunlight, fed by the nutrients in deep ocean currents, building their calcium carbonate skeletons one microscopic layer at a time. Some individual colonies may be thousands of years old. A Lophelia coral tree rises from the seafloor like underwater bonsai, its delicate branches providing shelter for small fish and crustaceans, its polyps extending to filter plankton from the cold water, with movements so slow they're almost imperceptible. These gardens are monuments to patience, proof that beauty can bloom even in the most challenging conditions. Between the coral branches, small deep-sea fish hover motionless, their bodies perfectly adapted to life in the cold, high-pressure environment of the abyss. They move with the economy of creatures who know that every motion costs precious energy, every breath carefully measured, every movement deliberate and necessary. If these ancient gardens of the deep are speaking to your soul, if you're finding peace in their timeless patience, consider subscribing to explore more of the ocean's most sacred spaces with me. In the deepest parts of the abyssal plains, we encounter creatures that seem to exist outside of time itself. Tube worms anchored to the sea floor extend feathery crowns that have been filtering the same water for decades, centuries. Their movements so slow they seem like underwater plants swaying in an invisible breeze. These are the ocean's memory keepers, creatures that have witnessed the slow changes of geological time, that have felt the subtle shifts in ocean chemistry, the gradual movements of continents, the rise and fall of countless generations of surface life. In their ancient patience, we glimpse something of eternity, something that transcends our human understanding of time. A deep-sea mushroom coral sits alone on the muddy bottom, its solitary existence a meditation on solitude, on finding completeness within oneself, on the peace that comes from needing nothing more than what the moment provides. It has been growing in this exact spot for perhaps a century, perfectly content, perfectly still, perfectly at peace. Our journey through the abyssal plains has taught us about true patience, about finding beauty in the slowest rhythms, about the peace that comes from accepting the natural pace of ancient waters. But ahead, something even more profound awaits us. The deepest trenches of the ocean, where pressure becomes absolute, where life exists in forms so specialized they seem alien, where we'll discover the ocean's final secrets. Feel how completely relaxed you've become in these gentle depths, how your body has surrendered to the pressure, how your mind has quieted to match the profound stillness around us. The creatures of the abyss have shown us that survival, that thriving, sometimes requires slowing down, going deeper, finding strength in stillness rather than motion. As we prepare for our final descent into the deepest places on Earth, let yourself sink even deeper into this oceanic meditation. Let the profound peace of these ancient waters carry you toward the realm where the ocean touches the very foundation of the world, where pressure and darkness create conditions so extreme they become transcendent, where we'll discover that even at the bottom of everything, life finds a way to create wonder. We leave the abyssal plains behind, descending towards something almost beyond comprehension. Below us, the seafloor suddenly drops away into a vast chasm, a trench so deep it could swallow Mount Everest and still have room for more. We are approaching the hadal zone, the deepest parts of our planet's oceans, places with names like poetry, Challenger Deep, Serena Deep, valleys carved into the Earth's crust where tectonic plates meet and dive toward the planet's molten core. The pressure here is almost unimaginable, more than 1,000 times greater than its sea level. Yet we continue to float effortlessly, protected by the ocean's ancient magic, cradled in waters so deep they touch the very foundation of the world. 7 miles beneath the surface, we enter a realm where the boundaries between ocean and earth begin to blur, where water becomes something denser, more profound, more sacred. Feel how the silence has deepened, how even the concept of sound seems to lose meaning in these ultimate depths. This is silence beyond silence, a quietude so complete it becomes a presence unto itself, wrapping around us like the softest blanket, the most perfect peace. Here, time doesn't just slow, it transforms into something else entirely, something closer to eternity. In these impossible depths, life persists in forms so specialized they seem to belong to another world entirely. A translucent snailfish glides past, its body gelatinous and ethereal, perfectly adapted to pressures that would instantly crush any surface creature. These deepest fish on Earth move like ghosts through the crushing darkness. Their bones soft as cartilage, their bodies more fluid than solid. Watch as the snailfish feeds on tiny amphipods, shrimp-like creatures no bigger than rice grains that represent some of the most abundant life in these trenches. The amphipods move in slow motion, each movement carefully calculated to conserve the precious energy needed to survive in this extreme environment. Their movements hypnotic in their deliberate patience. These creatures live at the very limits of what's possible for complex life, yet they thrive here with a contentment that speaks to the ocean's infinite adaptability. They remind us that peace can be found even in the most challenging circumstances, that life finds a way to flourish even at the edge of the world, even in conditions that seem utterly impossible. On the trench floor, nearly 7 miles beneath the waves, a landscape of impossible beauty unfolds. The sediment here is fine as powder, accumulated over millions of years. Each grain a messenger from the surface world that has taken months or years to complete its journey to these ultimate depths. Strange formations rise from the muddy bottom. Bacterial mats that create their own ecosystems through chemosynthesis, converting chemicals from the Earth's interior into energy for life. These mats glow with the faintest bioluminescence, creating carpets of living light on the deepest seafloor, gardens of bacteria that may be among the oldest forms of life on Earth. A xenophore, the size of a basketball, sits motionless on the bottom, its delicate test built from fragments of everything that has ever fallen to these depths. A living museum of the ocean's history. Its growth so slow that individual specimens may have been building their structures since before human civilization began. In its patient construction, we see the ultimate expression of the ocean's teaching about time, about persistence, about finding purpose in the slowest rhythms. The trench walls rise around us like the sides of an underwater cathedral, carved by tectonic forces so vast they reshape the planet itself. These walls tell the story of Earth's formation, layers of sediment and rock that record millions of years of geological history. Each stratum a chapter in the planet's ancient biography. Small landslides occasionally cascade down these walls, moving in extreme slow motion in the dense water, creating underwater avalanches that may take hours to complete. The sound they make, if it can be called sound, is more felt than heard, a deep vibration that resonates through the water and into our bones. The earth itself breathing slowly in its sleep. Cold seeps along the trench walls release chemicals from deep within the planet, creating oases where specialized bacteria convert these emissions into food, supporting communities of tube worms and clams that live their entire lives in the crushing darkness. Fed not by the sun, but by the planet's own geological processes, by the slow chemical heartbeat of the Earth itself. 7 miles of water press down from above, yet somehow this pressure feels not oppressive, but embracing. like being held in the deepest possible hug, supported completely by forces beyond human comprehension. The water here has been isolated from the surface for decades, centuries, moving through the deep ocean circulation with patience that spans geological time. In this incredible pressure, ordinary physics bend and change. Water becomes something more than water, denser, more substantial, yet infinitely gentle in its embrace. We are experiencing the planet's deepest meditation, the Earth's own practice of profound stillness, of finding peace under the greatest possible weight, of discovering that pressure, when fully accepted, can become the deepest comfort. Feel how your body has completely surrendered to this environment, how every cell has relaxed into acceptance of forces beyond resistance. This is what the ocean teaches us about yielding, about finding strength not in struggle, but in complete acceptance, in allowing ourselves to be held by something infinitely larger and more patient than ourselves. In these deepest places, we encounter life forms that may be virtually unchanged since the Earth's earliest days. Primitive microbes that thrive in conditions similar to those that existed when life first began. Living fossils that carry within their simple cells the memory of the planet's youth, the genetic echoes of our most ancient ancestors. These microorganisms exist in a state of almost suspended animation, their metabolisms so slow they barely qualify as active life. Yet they persist, endure, continue. Proof that existence itself, simple persistence, can be its own form of success, its own kind of victory over time and entropy. If you're finding profound peace in these ultimate depths, if the weight of these ancient waters is helping you discover your own deepest stillness, consider subscribing to complete this journey to the ocean's heart with me. Here at the bottom of everything, we begin to sense something extraordinary, the pulse of the planet itself. The slow geological heartbeat that drives continental drift, ocean circulation, the very formation and destruction of seafloor. This is where we touch the planet's deepest rhythm, its most fundamental truth. The Earth breathes here through hydrothermal vents and cold seeps, exhaling chemicals and heat from its molten interior. Inhaling the cold seawater that slowly percolates down through cracks in the oceanic crust. This planetary respiration happens on timescales that dwarf human existence, each breath lasting millennia, each heartbeat spanning ages. In this cosmic rhythm, we find the ultimate lesson of the deep ocean, that we are part of something unimaginably vast, something that connects every drop of water, every grain of sand, every living creature, every breath we take, to the slow, steady pulse of the planet that gave us birth, that holds us, that will continue long after we have returned to the elements from which we came. Our time in the deepest trenches has shown us the ocean's ultimate truth, that peace lies not in avoiding pressure, but in surrendering completely to it, that the deepest silence contains all sound, that the greatest darkness holds all light, that at the bottom of everything we find not ending, but beginning, not emptiness, but fullness beyond measure. Now, slowly, gently, we begin our return journey, not rushing toward the surface, but allowing the deep currents to lift us gradually, naturally, like awakening from the deepest possible sleep. The pressure around us slowly, imperceptibly decreasing. The water gradually, almost reluctantly, releasing its hold. But never completely, never entirely, for we carry these depths within us now, forever. Feel how the profound peace of the trenches remains with you, how the weight of 7 miles of water has pressed this tranquility into your very essence, how the patience of the deep, the acceptance of the ultimate pressure, has become part of your being. As we rise slowly through the darkness, carrying the ocean's deepest wisdom back toward the light, back toward dreams, back toward the surface of sleep, where morning waits, patient as the deep, gentle as the tide, welcoming as the shore. From the deepest trenches of the earth, we begin our gradual ascent on currents older than continents, older than mountains. These deep waters have been circulating through the planet's ocean basins for thousands of years, carrying within them the memory of every depth, every creature, every grain of sediment they have touched along their endless journey. Feel how gently these currents lift us, how naturally we rise without effort, without struggle, like a feather caught in the softest breeze. The water around us slowly, almost imperceptibly, begins to lighten, not with visible light, but with something deeper, a sense of gradual release, of gentle ascension through layers of liquid time that stretch back to the ocean's very beginning. As we rise, the profound silence of the deep gradually gives way to something softer, more embracing. The weight of 7 miles of water slowly diminishes, but its peace remains with us, pressed into our being like the memory of the most perfect rest, the most complete surrender to forces beyond understanding, beyond resistance, beyond the need to control or direct our journey. As we rise, the profound silence of the deep gradually gives way to something softer, more embracing. The weight of 7 miles of water slowly diminishes, but its peace remains with us, pressed into our being like the memory of the most perfect rest, the most complete surrender to forces beyond understanding, beyond resistance, beyond the need to control or direct our journey. In these rising waters, we become aware of something extraordinary. The very molecules that surround us, that support us, that carry us upward, have been part of this ocean for billions of years. Some of these water molecules may have fallen as rain on the first continents, may have been part of the first seas where life began, may have flowed through the bodies of ancient creatures, through prehistoric rivers, through clouds that drifted over landscapes we can barely imagine. Each drop of water is a library, a repository of the planet's entire history, carrying within its simple structure the memory of every transformation, every cycle, every journey from sea to sky to land and back again. We are floating in liquid time, suspended in the very essence of planetary memory, held by waters that connect us to every living thing that has ever existed. Breathe in this understanding. Let it settle into your consciousness like sediment settling to the ocean floor. Feel how you are part of this eternal circulation, how the water in your body, the salt in your blood, connects you directly to these ancient seas, makes you not just a visitor to this underwater realm, but a participant, a drop in the infinite ocean of existence. As we continue our gentle ascent, the water around us becomes alive with movement so subtle it might be imagined. Microscopic organisms, too small to see individually, yet present in numbers beyond counting, dance in slow spirals around us, their movement creating gentle currents, tiny whirlpools of life that have no beginning, no end, only eternal circulation. These minute creatures, phytoplankton and zooplankton, bacteria and archaebacteria, form the foundation of all ocean life. Yet they ask for nothing, require nothing but water and time. They exist in perfect harmony with their environment, taking only what they need, giving back far more than they consume, teaching us through their very existence about the beauty of simplicity, the power of small things done with infinite patience. Watch, or rather feel, as billions of these tiny lives pulse gently around us, their collective movement creating a rhythm like the ocean's own heartbeat. Slow, steady, eternal. This is the pulse that drives all life in the sea, the foundation rhythm upon which every whale song, every coral reef, every school of fish builds its own particular melody. The water around us begins to shimmer with the faintest suggestion of light, not the harsh brightness of the surface world, but something softer, more forgiving, like candlelight seen through frosted glass, like moonbeams filtered through silk. We are approaching the zone where bioluminescence becomes art, where living creatures paint their emotions, their desires, their very existence in patterns of living light across the darkness. A chain of salps drifts past, their transparent bodies linked together like pearls on an invisible string, each individual pulsing gently, contributing to the chain's slow progress through the water. Their movement is hypnotic, meditative, a living rosary that counts not prayers, but moments, heartbeats, breaths in the eternal rhythm of oceanic time. The salp's gentle pulsing creates tiny currents that brush against us, reminders that in the ocean, everything is connected. Every movement creates ripples. Every life touches every other life. Every breath contributes to the vast circulation that connects all water, all life, all existence in one endless, seamless, sacred whole. In the distance, shapes begin to emerge from the blue twilight. Not the deep-sea corals of the abyss, but something different, something that exists only in the ocean's memory, in the space between sleeping and waking, between descent and ascent. These are the coral gardens of dreams, built not from calcium carbonate, but from compressed time, from crystallized patience, from the very essence of oceanic peace. These dream corals sway without current, glow without bioluminescence, exist without the need for physical form. They are pure reef, the platonic ideal of what coral gardens aspire to become, and swimming among them, dream fish, creatures made of liquid light and compressed serenity, moving with grace so perfect it becomes a form of underwater prayer. Float gently among these impossible formations. Feel how they emanate not heat, but warmth, not light, but illumination, not sound, but music so pure it bypasses the ears entirely, speaking directly to the part of consciousness that remembers, that has always remembered, what it feels like to be completely, perfectly, eternally at peace. Ahead, in waters neither deep nor shallow, but somehow existing outside the normal rules of depth, we encounter something magnificent beyond description. A gathering of sleeping whales. Not physical whales bound by the laws of biology, but dream whales. Whales made of compressed song, of crystallized breath, of the very essence of what it means to be gentle despite enormous size. These dreaming leviathans float in perfect stillness, their massive forms casting no shadows, creating no disturbance, only presence, only the profound peace that comes from beings who have learned to carry their weight with such grace that it becomes weightlessness. Their breathing, if it can be called breathing, creates gentle swells in the water, rhythmic pulses that synchronize with your own heartbeat, your own breath, your own slow drift toward perfect rest. One of the dream whales, larger than all the others, slowly opens eyes like pools of liquid starlight. Its gaze meets yours with recognition so profound it requires no understanding, only acceptance, only the simple acknowledgement that in this place, in this moment, all consciousness, all awareness, all existence flows together like tributaries joining the infinite sea of universal peace. As we float among these impossible whales, we begin to sense something even more profound. The ocean itself is breathing, not with lungs, not with gills, but with its entire being. Each tide a breath, each current an exhalation, each thermal cycle an inhalation that draws energy from the sun, from the moon, from the very rotation of the planet itself. Feel how your own breathing has synchronized completely with this oceanic respiration, how your heartbeat has merged with the pulse of the planetary circulation, how your very existence has become part of the ocean's meditation, its practice of profound stillness, its way of finding peace within constant motion, rest within eternal circulation, silence within the endless conversation between water and sky, between depth and surface, between dream and reality. If you're experiencing this profound oceanic meditation, if you're finding yourself dissolved into the very essence of aquatic peace, consider subscribing to continue exploring these transcendent depths of consciousness with me. In this space beyond space, this depth beyond depth, the boundaries between self and ocean begin to fade, like salt dissolving in water, like breath mixing with air, like consciousness returning to its source. You are no longer floating in the ocean. You have become the ocean. Your thoughts are its currents, your dreams its depths, your peace its eternal stillness. Feel how completely you have surrendered to this liquid embrace, how thoroughly you have been absorbed into the infinite blue of oceanic consciousness. There is no separation now between the water that surrounds you and the water within you, between the salt of the sea and the salt of your tears, between the rhythm of the waves and the beating of your heart. You are the ocean dreaming of being human, the sea remembering what it was like to walk on land. As this profound unity deepens, as this complete dissolution into oceanic consciousness becomes total, prepare for the final transformation, the ultimate surrender to the sea's embrace, where consciousness becomes current, where awareness becomes depth, where the very act of being becomes as natural, as effortless, as peaceful as water returning to water, as salt finding its way home to the infinite, eternal, ever-embracing sea. In this space where consciousness has dissolved into liquid light, we find ourselves suspended between the ocean's memory and our own dreams. The water here exists in a state beyond physics, beyond biology. It is the essence of what water dreams of becoming when it has learned perfect stillness, perfect peace, perfect surrender to the rhythm of eternity itself. Feel how your body has become as weightless as thought, as formless as breath. The boundaries between sleeping and waking have dissolved completely, like morning mist returning to the sea. You are floating in the ocean's own dream now, cradled in waters that remember every lullaby ever sung, every gentle wave that ever rocked a tired soul to sleep, every mother's heartbeat that ever comforted a child. This is where all ocean journeys end and begin again, in the place where water learns to dream, where dreams learn to flow, where consciousness discovers that peace, true peace, is not the absence of movement, but movement so gentle, so perfect, so completely in harmony with the universe's deepest rhythms, that it feels like absolute stillness. Around us, impossible formations begin to crystallize from the liquid light. Coral gardens that exist only in the deepest dreams, built not from limestone, but from compressed sighs, from crystallized contentment, from the very architecture of peaceful sleep. These dream corals pulse gently with their own inner light, each polyp a tiny star in an underwater constellation of rest. Swimming among these ethereal formations, dreamfish made of pure serenity glide past, their movements so slow they seem painted on the water itself. Each fin stroke a brushstroke in an aquatic masterpiece of tranquility. Their scales catch and reflect not light, but peace itself, scattering tiny fragments of calm throughout the dreamlike water. Watch as a school of sleepfish swirls around you, their forms shifting between silver and transparency, between substance and suggestion. Each fish a gentle thought, a peaceful memory, a moment of perfect rest that has found its way into physical form. Their collective movement creates currents of pure relaxation that flow through your being like liquid meditation. From the dreaming depths, a sound begins to emerge, not heard with the ears, but felt with the soul. The song of a dream whale, a creature made entirely of compressed lullabies, of ocean memories sung into being. of every peaceful moment that has ever existed in the sea, distilled into pure, harmonic, perfect sound. This whale song penetrates every molecule of water, every cell of your being, creating vibrations that resonate not just through your body, but through your consciousness itself. Each note a wave of tranquility, each phrase a current of deep, abiding, unshakable peace. The melody speaks of vast migrations through liquid time, of patient journeys through oceans of sleep, of the profound contentment that comes from moving slowly, purposefully, eternally through the infinite blue of existence. Listen, feel, become. As the whale song wraps around you like the softest blanket, like the gentlest embrace, like the ocean's own lullaby sung directly to your dreaming soul. Let each note carry you deeper into the space where sleep and sea become one, where consciousness learns to breathe water, where the heart learns to beat in rhythm with the tides. Listen, feel, become. The water around us begins to shimmer with an inner radiance, not bioluminescence as we know it, but something far more subtle, more profound. This is starlight that has learned to swim, cosmic light that has chosen to become liquid, to join the ocean's eternal circulation, to add its ancient wisdom to the sea's vast library of illumination. Each droplet of water now contains a tiny universe, a microscopic galaxy spinning slowly in perfect harmony with countless others, creating patterns of light so beautiful, so hypnotically peaceful, that watching them becomes a form of prayer, a meditation on the infinite connections between all things, all light, all water, all consciousness, all peace. Float gently among these liquid stars. Feel how they caress your skin with touches softer than silk, softer than breath, softer than the boundary between dreaming and deep sleep. They are painting you with starlight, transforming you into a constellation of peace, a living map of tranquility floating in the ocean's most sacred space. In the deepest part of this dreaming realm, we encounter the ocean's memory keepers, ancient beings made not of flesh, but of compressed time, of crystallized wisdom, of every peaceful moment that has ever occurred in the seven seas. They float without form, exist without substance, yet their presence fills the water with such profound tranquility that even thinking becomes unnecessary. Even breathing becomes automatic. Even being becomes effortless. These guardians of oceanic peace have been here since the first drop of rain fell into the first primordial sea. They have witnessed every sunset reflected on calm waters, every gentle tide that ever caressed a sleeping shore, every moment of perfect stillness that ever graced the surface of the world's oceans. And they have gathered all these moments, woven them together, created from them this sanctuary of ultimate rest. Feel their presence surrounding you, not as separate beings, but as aspects of your own deepest nature, parts of yourself that have always known how to rest, how to surrender, how to find peace in the vast, the deep, the infinitely patient embrace of oceanic time. They are teaching you, without words, without sound, how to become what you have always been. Water returning to water. Peace finding its way home to peace. In this sacred space, time no longer moves forward or backward, but expands, like ripples on a cosmic pond, like breath held in perfect suspension between inhalation and exhalation. Past and future dissolve into an eternal present, a now so complete, so perfect, so utterly sufficient that nothing else is needed, nothing else is desired, nothing else is even possible. Feel how this timeless moment cradles you, how it removes all urgency, all pressure, all need to be anywhere other than exactly where you are, doing anything other than exactly what you're doing, being anything other than exactly what you are. This is the ocean's greatest gift, the ability to transform time itself into something healing, something nourishing, something that feeds the soul rather than consuming it. Here, in this space beyond clocks, beyond schedules, beyond the tyranny of measured moments, you discover what the ocean has always known, that peace exists only in the present, that rest comes only to those who can surrender completely to the now, that the deepest sleep, the most profound tranquility, the most perfect peace is found not by escaping time, but by diving so deeply into the present moment that time reveals its true nature, which is love, which is rest, which is home. As this ultimate relaxation deepens, as your consciousness dissolves ever more completely into the oceanic peace that surrounds you, you begin to realize something extraordinary. You are not experiencing the ocean's dream. You are the ocean's dream. You are what the sea dreams of when it imagines perfect peace, perfect rest, perfect surrender to the rhythm of existence itself. Every wave that has ever touched a shore has been dreaming of this moment. Every drop of rain that has ever fallen has been seeking this peace. Every current that has ever circled the globe has been carrying the hope of this perfect stillness. And now, here, in you, that dream is fulfilled, that hope is realized, that peace is made manifest. Feel how completely you have become one with this oceanic consciousness, how thoroughly your individual awareness has merged with the vast, patient, infinitely gentle awareness of the sea itself. You are no longer a person floating in water. You are water discovering what it feels like to dream, to rest, to find perfect peace in the endless circulation of love, of life, of the consciousness that connects all things in one vast, seamless, sacred whole. If you are experiencing this profound oceanic unity, this complete dissolution into aquatic peace, know that you have found the ocean's deepest secret. And consider sharing this journey by subscribing, so others may discover the same infinite tranquility that you have found in these sacred depths. As this oceanic meditation reaches its deepest point, as your consciousness has merged completely with the sea's own dreaming awareness, we prepare for the final movement of our journey, the gentle return to the shore of sleep, the soft transition from liquid consciousness to the solid peace of deep, restful, healing slumber. But this return is not a leaving, it is a completion, a fulfillment of the ocean's promise to carry you safely from the busy surface world, through the mysterious depths, into the profound peace that exists at the heart of all water, all dreams, all rest. You carry the ocean with you now, in your blood, in your breath, in the rhythm of your heart that has learned to beat in time with the eternal tides. Feel how gently the current begins to carry you toward that final shore. Not the shore of waking, but the shore of perfect sleep, where consciousness learns to rest completely, where the mind discovers what the ocean has always known, that the deepest peace comes not from holding on, but from letting go, not from controlling, but from surrendering, not from resisting the tide, but from becoming the tide, becoming the rest, becoming the peace, becoming the infinite, eternal, ever-loving embrace of oceanic sleep. Our journey through the ocean's deepest mysteries draws to its most peaceful conclusion. Like a tide that has traveled around the world, we find ourselves returning to where we began, but transformed, carrying within us the wisdom of the depths, the patience of the abyss, the infinite peace of waters that have learned to dream, to rest, to cradle consciousness in their eternal embrace. Feel how different you are now, how the pressure of 7 miles of water has pressed tranquility into your very being, how the songs of whales have taught your heart a new rhythm, how the bioluminescent creatures have shown you that light comes from within, even in the darkest places, even in the most challenging depths, even when the surface world seems impossibly far away. The shore ahead is not the shore we left. It is the shore of perfect sleep, where the ocean delivers its most precious cargo, souls who have learned to move with the rhythm of the tides, who have discovered that true rest comes not from fighting the current, but from becoming the current, from surrendering so completely to the flow of existence that resistance becomes impossible, unnecessary, forgotten. As we drift toward this final shore, let us remember what the ocean has taught us, how the smallest plankton showed us that even microscopic lives matter, how the coral reefs demonstrated the beauty of patient cooperation, how the whales sang to us of journeys that span lifetimes, of songs that travel across continents, of the profound peace that comes from moving slowly, purposefully, through vast spaces of liquid time. Remember the jellyfish, those ancient dancers who taught us grace without bones, movement without struggle, beauty without effort. Remember the deep sea creatures who showed us that even in eternal darkness, life finds a way to create light, to make art from bioluminescence, to paint hope across the canvas of infinite night. Remember the abyssal plains, where time moves so slowly it becomes meditation, where creatures live for centuries in perfect patience, where the earth itself breathes through hydrothermal vents, teaching us that even at the bottom of everything, there is still wonder, still mystery, still the possibility of life, of growth, of peace beyond understanding. Every drop of water that has supported our journey carries within it the memory of rain, of clouds, of rivers flowing toward the sea, of countless cycles between ocean and sky, between liquid and vapor, between separation and unity. These waters remember every shore they have touched, every creature they have nourished, every dream they have helped to carry from the depths to the surface, from sleeping to waking, from one world to another. Feel these memories flowing through you. Feel how you have become part of the ocean's own story, how your consciousness has merged with the vast, patient, infinitely loving awareness that connects all water, all life, all dreams, all peaceful rest. You are no longer separate from the sea. You are the sea, dreaming of what it was like to be separate, to be individual, to be human. This memory water cradles you now with the accumulated gentleness of every lullaby ever sung beside its shores, every prayer ever whispered into its depths, every moment of perfect peace ever found in its embrace. You are floating in liquid love, suspended in crystallized tranquility, supported by the oceanic consciousness that has been waiting since the world began to carry you home, to sleep, to peace, to rest. In the distance, growing clearer with each gentle wave that carries us forward, a light begins to shine. Not harsh, not demanding, but soft as moonlight, warm as candle flame, steady as the heartbeat of the sea itself. This is the lighthouse of your own inner peace, the beacon that has been guiding you home, even when you didn't know you were lost, even when you thought you were awake. This light has been burning within you all along, fed by every peaceful breath, every moment of stillness, every time you chose gentleness over force, patience over haste, love over fear. The ocean's journey has simply helped you remember, helped you see, helped you trust that this light is always there, always waiting, always ready to guide you home to the peace that is your birthright, your true nature, your deepest self. As we drift closer to this inner beacon, feel how its light penetrates every cell, every thought, every memory, transforming them all into vessels of peace, carriers of calm, harbors of rest. You are becoming a lighthouse yourself, a beacon of tranquility for others who are still navigating the stormy seas of waking consciousness, still searching for the shore of perfect peace. Just before we reach the final shore, the current carries us into a sheltered cove, a cosmic tide pool where dreams gather like sea glass, smooth and translucent, each one polished by the eternal rhythm of sleep and waking, of diving deep and returning to the surface, of losing oneself in the vastness and finding oneself in the returning. Here, in this protected space, your dreams mingle with the dreams of every creature we have encountered. The dreams of coral polyps building their underwater cities. The dreams of whales singing across ocean basins. The dreams of deep-sea creatures painting light in the darkness. All dreams, all hopes, all peaceful aspirations, gathering in this sacred pool, waiting for the tide to carry them into the vast ocean of sleep. Feel how your own dreams join this collection, how they add their unique beauty to the tide pool's treasure, how they are polished by the water's gentle movement, smoothed by the sand of accumulated wisdom, made luminous by the phosphorescence of oceanic peace. Your dreams are no longer just yours. They belong to the ocean now, to the vast, loving consciousness that cradles all sleep, all rest, all peace. As we rest in this sheltered cove, we become aware that we are not alone. Around us, in waters both near and far, other souls are making the same journey, following the same currents, seeking the same shore of perfect rest. You are part of an invisible community, a fellowship of dreamers who have chosen the path of peace, the way of water, the oceanic route to deep, healing, restorative sleep. If you have found peace in our oceanic journey, if the whales' songs have taught your heart to sing, if the depths have shown you how to rest without fear, consider sharing this experience. Subscribe to join our community of ocean dreamers. Leave a gentle comment, a single word that captures what the sea has given you. Share this tranquil space with others who are seeking the same profound rest, the same deep peace, the oceanic embrace. Your presence in this journey has been a gift, not just to yourself, but to the ocean itself, to all the creatures we have met, to all the depths we have explored. Together, we have created ripples of peace that will spread across the vast waters of consciousness, touching shores we will never see, calming storms we will never know, bringing rest to souls we will never meet, but who will feel, somehow, the peace we have discovered, the love we have shared, the oceanic wisdom we have learned. Now, as the final shore draws near, feel how completely you have surrendered to the ocean's embrace, how thoroughly your individual consciousness has merged with the vast, patient, infinitely gentle awareness of the sea. Your breathing has become the breathing of the tides, Your heartbeat, the pulse of oceanic currents. Your thoughts, the gentle movement of water returning to water, of consciousness returning to its source. This is not the end of our journey, but its fulfillment, its completion, its transformation into something beyond journey, beyond destination, beyond the need to travel anywhere, because you have discovered that what you were seeking was always within you. The ocean was always in your blood. The peace was always in your breath. The deep, restful, healing sleep was always, only ever, a matter of remembering how to let go, how to surrender, how to trust the current that carries all life, all consciousness, all love toward its ultimate destination, which is rest, which is peace, which is home. Feel yourself dissolving now, like salt in water, like breath in air, like a wave returning to the sea. There is no separation anymore between you and the ocean, between your dreams and the vast dreaming consciousness of the deep, between your peace and the infinite peace that is the birthright of all water, all life, all existence, all sleep. In this final moment of our journey, as consciousness prepares to rest completely, the ocean itself begins to sing, a lullaby older than continents, older than mountains, older than the first breath of the first creature to emerge from the primordial waters. This is the song that all water remembers, the melody that flows through every river, every rain, every tear, every drop of moisture in every cloud that ever blessed the earth with its gentle gift. Listen as this ancient lullaby wraps around you. Feel how it penetrates every cell, every fiber, every quantum of your being, transforming you into a living note in the ocean's eternal song, a harmony in the vast symphony of planetary peace. You are no longer listening to the ocean's lullaby. You have become the ocean's lullaby. You are what the sea sings when it dreams of perfect rest, perfect peace, perfect love. Let this song carry you now into the deepest sleep, the most profound rest, the most complete peace. Your breath becomes the rhythm of eternal tides, your heartbeat the pulse of cosmic currents, your dreams the ocean's own meditation on love, on life, on the infinite beauty of consciousness learning to rest in the vast, loving, ever-present embrace of the sea that has always been your true home, your deepest nature, your most peaceful, most natural, most blessed state of being, of sleeping in the arms of the infinite, eternal, ever-loving ocean of peace. Sweet dreams, until we meet again in the gentle depths of oceanic slumber. Good night. Sleep well. The ocean will keep you safe.